Listener discretion is advised. This podcast may include profanity and discussion of sensitive topics. Any opinions expressed are those of the speaker and do not reflect the opinions of any other person or entity. Welcome to episode 19 of The Real Future. I'm photographer John Nyboer, and I started this podcast to share the stories, history, and styles behind the world's largest arts movement. My guest today is James Jimenez, aka Animated J. I've always admired Jay for his category-defying style of movement, so I was eager to ask him about the evolution of his dance. He takes us from his beginning steps in New York, to his developmental years in Allentown, Pennsylvania, to the present in LA. He's also the first interviewer that I've interviewed, and we talked about the motivation behind his podcast, Creative Movers. It's on YouTube, and I've linked to it in the show notes, so please check that out. We also dive into the nature of creativity itself and how it often gets diminished by industrial education. This is a great conversation with a thoughtful artist, and we conclude with a drum and dance exchange, so stick around until the end. Let's get into the real future with Animated J. And then go ahead.
So see how it looks like you're over there, and it looks like I'm over here. It looks like the table's between us, but there is no between us.
Right.
You see this illusion?
Yes, that's part of the illusion.
Yes.
I wanted it to look like that, but again, I didn't want it to be. I didn't want us to have a barrier.
Yes.
So
nice.
And then I also wanted a place to put the flowers, so everybody gets flowers.
Oh.
I buy them from my neighbors downstairs.
Oh wow.
And I got you roses. Not so much because they're roses, because it was just a multicolored bunch.
Okay.
And I don't know. You're pretty. You tend to
my color right
dress
here,
colorfully, like color blocking is. So I was just like, that feels like Jay.
Thank you,
yeah,
John. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Nice.
I appreciate you being here. Welcome to the real future, Animated J. I know you had a long day, and I really appreciate you taking the time to come here. So I have a feeling this is going to be a pretty interesting conversation.
Okay.
I don't know. You're just a really thoughtful person, and
I seem to be. Yeah, I feel my thoughts can sometimes it runs like I'm growing up thinking a lot, just like having lots of thoughts about what's going on, and I think maybe in dance events I'm able to, like, how do I say, like control those thoughts in that setting. Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh, this person's doing this. Right. This person's here. They wore this. They did this. What do you think of this? What are we all doing here?
That's always
what's
the question,
going
right?
on here?
What are we all doing here?
What's going on?
I usually start these off pretty simple, and you already gave me a good memory a few minutes ago about an escalator.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
What's your first dance memory
of me dancing?
You can. Yeah, you dancing, or of a time where you really felt like, of you dancing, or a time where you really felt connected to the movement, you felt like, okay, and you knew this was something you wanted to pursue.
When I knew it was something I wanted to pursue.
Sure, that's a good way to,
Okay. Because the first memory, first memory of dancing is me, like, I don't know, had to be like 7 or 8, and like dancing to like the Backstreet Boys. There was like an Inspector Gadget movie, and there was some dance, something related to dance with it. I was a kid, my cousins were here, and I'm just like spinning on the floor, like break dancing, I guess. But I'm just spinning,
So we're talking, you're like 5 years old.
I had something around that time. That's my first like memories, dancing, spinning on the floor, not knowing what I'm doing, but I'm just doing something. I didn't even see breakdancing.
I was going to ask, like you didn't.
I had I just was, it's like, oh, my body. I think I always had a lot of energy as a child, so that's how I released it. So that was like a first memory of dancing. But when I knew that I wanted to really dive into it and study the craft and what are people doing, that was when I was in high school. And yes, that's where the story would begin then.
And how did that work? Like,
How did it come about?
Yeah, how did it come about? Like, did you take a class, or did you have a friend, or was there somebody that you admired, or what was the...
Oh, right. Okay. So, okay. I'm living in New York City.
You were born in New York?
Born in New York. Born in Queens, New York.
Queens.
And I'm there until 5th grade.
Okay.
Until 5th grade. There's some tragedy, trauma stuff that happens that we have to move and leave to go to Pennsylvania. I lose all my friends, everything. Just we pack up and we go. And now I'm in Pennsylvania, Allentown, Lehigh Valley. Don't know anybody, don't know the neighborhood.
Your whole family picked up and moved?
My mother and brother.
Your mother and brother.
Left. My father, he stood in New York. There was a
Okay.
conflict that happened when we had to leave.
All right.
Now I'm in Pennsylvania, and we're like, what am I doing? What if I have to? My mother's got to put me into something, you know? What am I doing? I go to school. It's all right. I joined soccer and stuff. It's like, it's okay, cool.
All right.
That helps, you know. And then one day, my mother puts my younger brother into dance classes. There's one dance studio in the neighborhood, like real, authentic hip hop studio. Only one
In Allentown,
in Allentown.
which is like traditionally like a steel town, or what's the...
Yeah, it's very country, very
country.
It's like, I mean, they try to make it, but it's very suburban. It's very Pennsylvania Dutch. That's like the...
Oh, the Amish are around?
Yes.
there? So you went from like Queens to
this country that it's like, I'm gonna be honest, there was really not much diversity in this town, in this area. Like, you don't see people colored hair walking around. You don't see, it's just a very like, you go to school, you have the church, you probably go to get a job, you get married, settle down, that's your family. That was kind of what that area. So there was this hip hop studio my mother puts my younger brother in.
Okay.
And because she made a friend, they said, oh, my kids go to the studio, maybe your kid would be interested. I was not interested at all, but my younger brother, let's put him in it. So I would drop him off or I would go with him, but I would just wait outside while he's taking classes.
So you could walk, because
you're
11 years old or something right now.
yeah, so I must have been like in 6.
Yeah.
I had to maybe like 7th grade, 8th grade, somewhere around there. It wasn't immediately once we came to Pennsylvania.
Right.
It was like 2 years we settled in, right? So my brother, he's taking classes, and I'm just sitting. I'm not interested in it. I'm not interested in hip hop dance. I'm not interested in any of this stuff. I was more of listening to like metal and screamo music, and I'm wearing like my dark, and I had the skinny jeans, and I had the...
Oh, so we progressed from the Backstreet Boys to something edgier.
Yeah, that was like I feel like middle school for me was like the whole skater days, when people talked about the Vans and the Hot Topic arises, the store, and it was a lot of that. Linkin Park was a big thing, and so that was the vibe. I did sports, but also like the music, that was like my thing. So my brother's taking classes, and then one day we go to see him perform, and he gets a little solo, and he does this. He does the head isolation that we know everyone does, and I'm like, okay, like that was cool. I was like, huh, interesting. I like that. That's some magical stuff. And then at the same time, the show America's Best Dance Crew comes on. And me and my family, we would watch it as a family. We would sit down and be like, oh, it's on tonight. Like, let's watch it. And we were like, who are this crew called the Jabberwockies? Like, who are they? And we're like, wow, look how they're like characters. And that was the team we rooted. We would watch and hope they won. We were like, oh, I hope they win. And they ended up winning.
They sure did.
So again, at the time, my brother's taking classes. The America's Best Dance Crew was a big thing on TV at the time for dancers. Like I feel like that's like the Red Bull nowadays. How Red Bull is the big thing that everyone talks about, or how So You Think You Could Dance was the big thing. It was like ABDC was the big thing at that time. So I started watching that, and then I guess YouTube is also around at that time. So I start typing in on YouTube. I'm like, Jabberwockies. And then their videos come up. And then I go to their suggestions. and I find other crews. And I'm like, what is this? There's this whole world of people that are moving like this. I'll stop there for now. Because that's where...
So that's where it starts. And then...
Yeah.
So you must have decided to take the class then, or a class.
So no.
You just pursued it on your own.
I pursued it on my own. I started... What I would do is I just would watch thousands of videos. I would just, what's going on in Korea? There's a crew called Prepix from Korea, I believe. There's a guy named Yumin from Japan. There's a guy named Salah from France. What is this stuff? And I'm slowly starting to find out there's this style called popping. There's a dance called popping that people do all these illusions. And I find out there's a thing on the West Coast and that there's a lot of people in LA and there's Electric Boogaloo's, Mr. Wiggle, and I just keep going down the train. Then I find out in New York there's a Tiny Love and these people that are doing digits. And then I find out there's a thing called Battle Fest, which is all these flexors.
So while you're doing all this, are you picking certain moves and imitating them?
So what I'm doing is I'm downloading all the videos, putting it into a DVD and like a 2-hour DVD. So I would take like 5-minute clips and I would download them all.
Oh, wow.
And I would put them in a DVD and then I would watch them in my room. And I would try to imitate it over and over and over again. And then I would tell my family, I'd be like, I want to show you this video. I made this DVD of all these dancers, like, come watch it. And I know that they probably were like, all right, like, okay, like we've seen it already. But they were down. They're like, okay, we'll watch it. And I appreciate my mother, for being supportive. So I would show them the DVDs. And I'd be like, wow, who are these dancers? I'm like, yeah, this person's from France, this person's from Japan, and they do this and this. And I would just imitate. So what's crazy is maybe a couple months later or a year, I don't know, I show up at the studio. There's a camp. Let me retract. There's a camp that my brother is going to because it's part of the hip hop. It's part of the studio. So there's a camp, and there's the studio's there. There's other dancers there, and I show up there because my brother's there, and they start playing music, and I decide to go now share. And this is the first time that they see me, and they're like, "Wait a second, you didn't dance at all."
And you're like better than all of them.
And then all of a sudden, you come out with all this stuff because the things I'm watching, though, it's not that I'm better, but
I'm kind of joking, but
right. But in that sense of like, whoa, like who is this dude? Like, what's he doing?
Right.
Because I was watching stuff that people weren't watching or knew of. So I was like, so that's what I'll say there.
Okay. When did you connect this to the rest of the humanity that was the community? Yeah. When did it become a social or a community thing for you? How did I connect
into the community?
Yeah.
Like I'm this observer watching through a screen.
And so many, like, that story is somewhat familiar. But it seems like you took it really far. And I know a lot of people who, come from places that are more remote, right? Mm-hmm. Like that had really no access.
Right, they have maybe one person.
But it's interesting that you just dove so hard in it by yourself. But yeah, how did you end up connecting with people?
So what happened is eventually there was a contest in my neighborhood. It was called the Allentown Fair.
Okay.
This was a fair. It was a fair,
Sure.
Carousel, they have all this stuff. But in the fair, they were going to have a dance contest that the radio station was hosting.
Nice.
So this was the opportunity.
Yeah.
They're like, we're looking for people to submit their video to perform at the Allentown Fair. And the winner gets like $300 for credit for clothes, whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's team up and let's enter this contest. And we enter the contest.
You guys like 2 years apart or?
So we're 7 years apart.
7 years apart?
Yeah.
Oh.
So he must have been like 7 years old dancing. Yeah, he was very little. But incredible. Like he was incredible. I'll just say this: if he doesn't dance now.
Okay.
He does phlebotomy. He's into wrestling entertainment, stuff like that. But if he would have continued, he would be like the hip hop choreo version of me. If you know how I am,
yeah.
Take me into the choreo world and hip hop. That's what he would have been. So we're different in that sense. But anyway, so we entered the contest.
Yeah.
And we're selected, and it's me and 2 other crews. It was like they just picked four people total.
Okay.
And on a little fun note, Short Circuit, Rob Wilson.
Yes.
He was also there. He was another competitor.
When did you know this then, or did you figure this out like last year or something?
No. What do you mean? No. I when I met, what
you've known him this. What I'm wondering is did you guys?
Oh,
did
yes.
you know him back then? Okay.
Yeah. So after that event, we stood in touch all the way till now. So we know each other from yes.
Okay.
So check this out.
Yeah. Shout out to Short Circuit, by the way.
Short Circuit. So the crazy thing is, how do I say? So Short Circuit's there. We compete. One of the judges is also the owner of the studio that my brother is at. Mm-hmm. He's a judge there. They do a performance before, like a halftime show.
Yes.
They do a performance before they're gonna pick their top, winners. And in that performance is Denzel Thompson, the house dance. Do you know?
Yeah, I know Denzel. Yeah.
He was in that studio. So there's a lot of people from Pennsylvania that have done amazing, beautiful things, I would say, from a small neighborhood area. So anyway, we enter, we won, me and my brother, and at that moment I was like, wow, like that was like really cool experience.
Is this do you have video of this? That must have been cute as fuck.
Mm-hmm. There's a video.
Well, especially since you're such the age difference. Like,
yeah. He's like it was.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he's so little. He was crumping and doing all. Yeah. So we won, and then after that, I started hanging around the dancers that my brother was going to. I started like going over there, meeting the studio owner, and getting in the mix. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So then it became and. Like Denzel and Short Circuit, were they living in Allentown, or was it like?
They might have been like Short Circuit. I don't know exactly if he lived in Allentown, but if he didn't live in Allentown, he lived probably like 10 more minutes away.
Oh, we're gonna get him in here and find out.
So he's in the same, in the same proximity, very close. You could drive to each other. So, but he was doing his own thing in another crew again because in Pennsylvania there wasn't much happening. Like everyone is scattered a little bit. Like there's groups
Philly.
here.
I mean, Philly
is the place that most people would go to if you're looking for hip hop or stuff. Yeah. But Allentown, which is like an hour and a half from Philly, it's kind of separate,
right?
Yeah.
So that gets you into the community, and then did you join a crew or did you?
Mm-hmm. So I didn't join a crew. No, I was always just doing me.
That does not surprise me.
Yeah, I mean, later down the line, there was like some finger-tutting crews online that we would make. Like other people around the world, we were like, oh, let's make a crew. But I wouldn't say that was. It was fun. It was like a fun, thing to do as But
so
it wasn't like.
If you weren't, were you entering battles and stuff?
So what happens? I could get there. You want me to?
Not
yet. I wasn't battling yet. The only thing I had done was that competition, which was a showcase.
Right.
I had not done battles yet.
But I'm going to. They're imminent.
We're gonna get there. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. You want me to go there? Or?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I'm watching YouTube videos and I'm seeing that there's battles. I'm like, wow, these are crazy. Like people like taking turns and showing them off like what they could do. So I find out there's a battle in Philadelphia because that's where everything's Pennsylvania, that's Philadelphia, and then New York would be the next place closest. So I tell my mother, I'm like, I want to go to Philly. I want to battle. They're like, you want to battle? Like, all right. Like we never done that before. That's different. Like you're gonna show up at some place, you just go, okay. So do you know a dancer called Smart Mark?
I do not know Smart Mark.
Okay. He was on ABDC for a crew called Fresh Select.
Okay.
And they pretty much like represent like Philly. Like his name when it comes to like, from my understanding, when it comes to like hip hop and all that is him. He's the one that's like represented. Do you know someone named Little O?
No.
That's okay. He's another one from
Philly dancer?
Another Philly.
Okay.
Again, very like these were the people that at the time were really pushing the dance, like showing it. So I go to his studio and he has a battle, an all-style battle. And I enter. And they're like, who are you? Like, you're different. Like, where are you from? And I was like, oh, I'm from Allentown, Lehigh Valley, Allentown. They're in the same area.
Right.
And he was like, oh, there's no dancers in Lehigh Valley. There's no dancers in Allentown. And then I was like, right. It's like, well, I'm not lying. But it was just because I think it was a shock. It was like, where are you from?
Yeah.
Like, you're not from, And then so I did the battle, and I end up placing like I think it was like third. Okay. So it was like a three-way battle. Yeah. My first battle. Like,
what was your style of this? Because like, you know, for like just for the audience, Jay has a really unique kind of individual style, which is why when you're like, oh, I never did join a crew, it kind of makes sense because you kind of are your own thing. So when you go to these battles, did you always have this kind of what to me seems like kind of extraordinary confidence?
I would say the mindset in the early, like when I first started, was that I'm dope. I really believed that what I was doing was really was dope. Was really cool.
Yeah.
Like I believed what I was doing was dope.
That's what I'm saying about confidence.
And it's because I think I was getting a lot of feedback, positive feedback from the peers around me.
Okay.
Because I was watching things, I was copying a lot. I was watching a lot of dancers like Salah, Philip Chabib, people from Japan, and I'm copying, I'm taking pieces and I'm doing them, and people are like, that is so, what is that? Because they're not aware of who these people are. So it looks like totally crazy. So I would say the feedback I was getting from people was like encouraging me.
Okay.
Eventually, of course, you have to do your own, you have to shape who you are. And I couldn't just copy and just do that. But I think it was just a lot of positive feedback in my early years. So, that's that encouraged, you know.
I really don't know anybody else who approached it like that. And then did you start winning? Or was that even an issue? Like, are you competitive? Do you consider yourself competitive?
Not as much as I was. I was very competitive younger, very competitive. Like it was to the point where I was like identifying myself with the value if I win or not.
Okay.
That was a point.
And did you start winning?
Some I would win.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Sometimes it would be like, oh, like just top. Like it would be ups and downs. I would go to a contest, get like top 4, feel the high of that, and then go to somewhere else, not past top 16. And then feel very low from that. I would start to put value into winning.
Yeah.
That was in the beginning.
Which implies that you've moved away from that.
Now it's a different, I look at it, I take my time and I'm more having a conversation with myself when I'm entering something. Like, why am I doing it? Am I doing it because I want approval, or am I doing it because I'm trying to prove? Like those conversations happen now more. Before it was like contest, event. I have to win. I have to do the best. I have to it was like my identity.
Is that why you moved out here?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Your identity was so. Yeah, you do have a really interesting approach, and I see you as someone who really likes to entertain in terms of, not that that's what drives you, but like you seem to have a really good, like a lot of dancers, I think, I see a lot of dancers who have great movement and great ideas, but they don't connect with the crowd, right? But I remember seeing you on Hollywood Boulevard once. Like we went, it was part of it was after the Poppers picnic. And it was they pulled up the van with the speakers, and it was a big session right there at Hollywood and Highland. And you got out there and just like completely worked the crowd, right? And that's when I was like, oh yeah, Jay really connects with people. So I think that's, to watch you, I think it's always a fun experience because of that. But what is that something you think about, or like what does drive you?
I think there's two things that come up at the moment of why I do this and what drives me to keep doing it. One was that it was an escape at the time when I first learned. Like dancing was therapeutic to me. I didn't, back to going from New York to Pennsylvania when there was conflict within my family. the dance became my own world. It became like my safe place to be. It was like, wow, I can become something. I can become anything. And I think at that time when moving to Pennsylvania, like I had more of like doubts about myself. I guess teenagers have teenage
course.
angst or whatever. I don't know what that word is, but just I was very doubtful of myself, and I questioned myself, and maybe the value of myself was low. So finding this dance where I could do anything, it's like, wow. Like if it brought up my confidence, I got to meet other people. Like it really supported me during that time. So I think there was like a psychological thing there with dance entering. It was, and then it became a habit. And then it's just, I'll mention Salah. So you know Salah?
I do,
so,
yeah.
Salah was a big impact in my early years, and he's a great entertainer. He's an amazing entertainer and can work any crowds. And I would watch, and his video, it was a battle of the year. He does a whole showcase of just himself. And that video, when I saw him, I was like, wow, look how he makes people feel. Like I am entertained watching him. He would act like he's crying, and then he would like stop himself and like talk in the voices. And again, it was like this whole world. It was a new world to me. So I feel that Salah influence plays a role in my engagement with others, that entertainment kind of vibe. And also, I was never interested in dance because of clubs or music videos or I want to get girls, or I know I hear that sometimes, like, oh, I wanted to get girls and I'm going to the clubs, and I wasn't interested in that. I don't go to clubs. I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in party dancing or socialized dancing. That wasn't why I wanted to dance. I was fascinated because it was unreal. It was these illusions that the human body can make with sounds. And so
it's the illusion. I guess that's why I was asking you earlier, like, what style is your foundation? And as we've learned, there's really no answer to that. But I always kind of identified, well, I guess we know a lot of animation dancers too. I mean, but it seemed like you connected that because you are so interested in this aspect of dance, the illusion aspect. Yeah. Do you remember, like, and by the way, that it's interesting that you went from dance as an escape to dance as something that connects you to other people, right? Like, or maybe it happened at the same time. I very much identify with that. I played drums as a kid. I still play, but like you, it was like an escape. Fortunately, we had a converted garage, and I had a drum set out there, and there was frequently a lot of chaos at home, right? And I could go out there, and I could, what could be more liberating? And then, like you said, it became a habit, and I got good, and then it's like, oh, and then you realize, oh, these things are actually about connecting with others. But it's interesting that it often starts in a place of self-protection, right?
Yeah.
And then
it was serving me.
Yeah.
And eventually now it's more to serve others. But it was serving me. Yeah. It was something that it filled a part of me. It filled that.
You see it now as something that serves others more.
Now I'm more. I would say that's in my mind when I'm like creating. And what can I do with dance now? Like, how can I impact others, inspire others, so that they can push what their ideas are? But in the beginning, it was more of like, oh, this is serving me. This feels good. I'm doing me. I'm making my own world.
Was there a moment when this flipped? Because I just got to say, I think I told you this. I don't know if you remember, but you went to France. Was it last year? Was it
2 years ago?
2 years ago,
almost. Yeah, I think it was.
And that was kind of your first big trip as a dancer, right? Like, where you went to another country, and is that accurate?
So,
Because when you came back from that, there was a whole nother level to what you were doing.
Interesting.
And I wasn't the only one that noticed it. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, he's got all these new moves. Just everything seemed like it just made more sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's funny. To me, I couldn't say, oh, that my movement was different. Like, I didn't know. Like, hearing you say that, it's interesting. I didn't say, like, oh, this was the moment after trip to Paris that changed. But what I will say is that trip to Paris felt 100% correct. Like, in life, there are things that are like, maybe I'll do this. Maybe I could have done that. I made this choice. But that trip felt 100% authentic. Similar to when I moved to California. There are moments in my life that there's no doubt that it just felt right. There's no doubt about it. And yeah, that was one of those moments. So maybe because it was just so aligned, and maybe because so much of me really was supporting this trip, like really wanted this, like really was open to the experience.
Yeah.
I think maybe, again, something psychologically showed up in my dance, influenced my development as a dancer.
Right.
Because it just felt right. You know, I like to think, like, you know, people talk about multiverse and timelines.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there's like 20,000 versions of you and you could have done that.
Yes.
To me, like, going to Paris was like the version. That's the version. That's the thing that every version of you does. Like, every timeline of you does this thing. And this is just my way of looking at it.
Oh, that's an interesting. Okay.
It's like you can make this choice, but there's certain choices that it's like, if you're on it, that's the timeline. Like, that's the golden timeline. I don't know how to explain it. Like,
no, you're explaining it well. I never thought of it like that. I mean, of course, I've had moments like that. I mean, honestly, meeting Slim in a parking lot was one of those moments. I was like, I'm gonna be spending a lot of time with dancers. Like, I just knew it. I just knew it. Yeah. You said moving to California was like that for you.
Yes.
And you didn't come out here. Did you come out here to meet dancers, or did it have anything to do with dance when you came out here?
So, California. Okay.
So I'm just wondering what made that so
that it felt so right.
Yeah.
I think when things are effortlessly, when things just work out and you don't have to be like this resistance, and it just works. Those are the moments. Like, so Paris, I'm gonna talk about Paris, and I wanna go back to California. Okay. Like, how did California happen? With Paris, it was like this. I'm sitting in my apartment. This is like months before. And I'm like, man, I would love to travel out of the country. Like, I really haven't gotten that opportunity. And I see so many artists. There's so much out there. I would really love to travel. And then I found there's this artist. He's a choreographer. He's from Greek. He's Greek. He's from Greece. His name is Dimitri Papioni. I'm messing up his last name, but his first name Dimitri. And I loved his work. I saw his work on a video, and I was like, wow. It opened my mind. That was a moment that also opened my mind. So I saw this video of him. Okay, I see the video. Now I'm wanting to go I want to travel outside the world. I'm like, man, it would be great if I could just travel. At the same time, I hear people talking about there's going to be an animation event in Paris. People keep talking about it.
Yeah, was that the first one? Because I know this is an annual thing. I've noted Animation Week, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was the first. I believe that was the first one that I went to.
Okay.
So I'm just like, okay, interesting. So then I'm like, you know what? I gotta see this Dimitri's performance. So I look up online. I said, where is he performing? He's performing in Paris. Well, Paris, that's where they're having Animation Week. But wait, what's the date? They're literally on the same week. Mm-hmm. How is this? And guess what? Clocks is going. Other friends are going.
Kumse went, right?
Kumse went. So it just, all of these pieces somehow aligned all together. It could have been that the event, the Dimitri's performance was another day. It could have been that there was no animation event.
all these things just worked out. I was like, what about money? I was like, how am I gonna make? I need money. And I made a little video saying, hey, if anyone wants to donate, because I want to interview dancers. That was also before I started interviewing dancers. That was the first. Again, these things that just, it all works out. So I'm like, okay, if anyone wants to donate to help me make this trip, because I plan to interview dancers. That's what I want to do this trip. People donated. I had some family members that donated. I got the money. All right, it's time to go. I go. I'm at Animation Week. I'm meeting Blondie, everyone for the first time, because I don't see these. They're all over there. I got to meet them. Such a great time. Salah shows up. And Salah, so I known Salah because I won a contest of his many years ago. So we meet again. We haven't seen each other for like 10 years. So we meet again. He's like, you know, what was I? I was like, I would love to do an interview with you. He's like, you know, because I know you, James, I'm going to do an interview with you. Like, that worked out. Everything just was working. Again, back to it just works. Yeah. So that happened. Now, California. So moving to California.
Which often doesn't go, easily for people, right? Just because it's moving, just for the fact that it's moving, and the first year might be tough.
Of course, of course. But so California, what happened was I'm living in Pennsylvania, and I'm getting into finger tutting because, again, I love all the styles. They're all beautiful. And sometimes I'll take a break. I'll be like, you know what? I'm not going to do waving. I'm going to get into like something else. Like, what else is out there? So I started getting into the finger tutting, and I started getting attention, and I started like finding that community, and there was a contest, and the winner of that contest got to get a video done in San Francisco, the Bay Area. So I won the contest, and I got to go to California for the first time. Not Los Angeles, but San Francisco.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, the West Coast is really nice. Like, the weather's nice. I'm only in San Francisco. I wasn't in LA. But also, I already knew from watching videos on YouTube, I knew that LA was the set. Like, that's where all these illusions were popping and all that. Like,
okay, so this was a motivating factor.
So I knew about it. I already knew. So I was like, I went to San Francisco. This is really nice. I know LA is just like, down, and there's all that happening. I wonder, like, maybe I'll try it. Maybe I'll try to live here. So I go back to Pennsylvania, and at that time, I'm like, I think I just graduated from my bachelor's, like, with psychology. So now it's like, okay, what are you gonna do now? Are you gonna like go for your master's? Because at the time I was pursuing therapy, being a therapist, psychologist. So my mother, they're like, okay, like, do you want to be here? Like, you can study here, or do you want to go to California? And I was like, I would love to go to California, but if you want me to stay here, I'll stay here. I told my mother.
Oh, wow.
Because I'm very close with her, and like, we just have a very strong relationship, positive, healthy. She was always there for me growing up. So they're like, okay, like, you want to go to California? Okay. So you got to figure out how you're going to do that. At the time, I was in a relationship with someone in California. Well, they were in California. I was out here, Pennsylvania. So I was like, okay, well, a couple things have to happen. One, I need to get a job out there. Two, I need to get on the lease out there. And three, I need to get accepted into the college out there. If all these three things can happen, I'm out there. I find a job. I find there's a position to work with kids on the autism spectrum. I do a phone interview. They said, you got it. So I got the job. I submit my information for the apartment so that I can get on the lease. Great, you're on the lease. And then I submitted my information for, it was called the Chicago School of Professional Psychology, which was like on 7th Street, downtown LA.
So you wanted to get, which is right here. So you wanted to get a master's?
I was going for my master's, yeah. So these three things, it worked out. And then I was like, okay, well,
Did you end up finishing the master's program?
I did.
Congratulations.
I did. Thank you. I didn't continue pursuing therapy in that sense.
Yeah.
I still work with kids in the school systems, but the master's was for the the one-on-one talk therapy you have with a client,
Right.
and they're talking in your office, and then
Yeah.
that was what I was pursuing at that time. But yeah, it worked out, and again, it was hard because I'm leaving my family. I don't have any family out here,
Yeah.
but again, it opened up so much growth for me as a now living on my own and
Yeah.
community, friends. I mean, I'm surrounded by all these artists now.
What was your first dance? So when you came to LA, what was the first dance event you went to? Do you remember?
a session? I
Do
went
you
to a
remember-
session.
Do you remember where?
Nalu session.
Lighthouse?
Yes.
At Northridge?
Yes.
Were you living in the Valley?
I was in Pasadena.
Okay.
And I was on Facebook, and I said, where are there sessions in LA? And someone said, there's a guy named Nalu that has a session in Northridge at the campus. So I'm like, great, bet. So I show up early, and I see Nalu sitting there with his speaker. And I'm like, hi. He goes, hey. And I'm like, is this the session? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, he's like, who are you? I'm like, I'm James. I was like, oh, he's like, cool, nice to meet you. And then I just waited until more dancers came, and then that was it. Once I started dancing, and then I'm like, who are you? And then I would just keep going to the lighthouse, and that the lighthouse.
I do know the
Everybody
lighthouse.
would be going there.
Everybody went there.
Everyone. So because of going to that session, I was meeting all other dancers that were in the area. So.
I mean, what a great thing! Like when you move, especially to a place like Los Angeles, you often hear people talk about how hard it is to meet people and stuff like that. Especially if you're, if you go to school, then you're in school. But like if you by yourself, and I think it just speaks to the strength of this community, right? That you could come to a place like LA and like, bam, you've got legitimate friends. If you want, depending on how open, at least you can dance, and then depending on where it goes. But that's what a gift that is. So when did you become animated though? So you said, oh, I'm James, but were you animated Jay at that point?
Oh yes.
You were.
I was animated Jay was given to me by my father.
Before you even danced?
No. So when I moved to Pennsylvania, I didn't have a nickname. And remember, so I'm watching videos, I'm imitating.
Gotta have a nickname.
Yeah, everyone's got it. Right. That's what's your poppin' this and blue, yellow, and yellow wave. I don't, that's part of the culture, the names, Someone gives you the name, So I'm at the dance studio that my brother's at, and the owner, he goes, you're like a cartoon. You're like, I'm gonna call you Mr. Animation. And I'm like, oh, cool, Mr. Animation. Obviously, I'm YouTubing videos, and I find there is a Mr. Animation in LA. A very respected dancer.
He still comes to the picnic.
He's
I believe.
he's no longer. No.
Oh,
It must
he's
be
no longer?
Yeah, no, he's no. Yeah, rest in peace. Mm-hmm. But I was like, I can't have that name now, like Mr. Anime. I'm not. That's his name.
Yeah.
So my father, he was like, what about like Animated J for James? So that's what stuck. Animated J.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
What's your process for getting like? All right, here's a good way to ask this. So you mentioned earlier that you'd be like, I'm just gonna throw away that. I'm not gonna wave for a while. I'm gonna go tut, right, or whatever. Whatever the thing is.
Yes.
Is there anything you're currently obsessed with
Right now.
Yes. What is it?
Technology and movement. And how can I create illusions that you can't create in this physical space right now? Like, I want to go beyond what is possible in the physical world, because I'm realizing, after having some conversations with some friends, what is the core of this that interests me? And to me, it is the illusion. I've always been, as I said, the illusion, to see someone move and how are they moving like that. So right now, I'm interested in how can technology support that?
So, do you have any answers at this point?
Yes. So film techniques. So stuff like time lapses. It's called slit scans, where it's like distorting the time of, like, when you see when someone's hand bends because it's not capturing it all. Data moshing. like cloning, where there's like multiple copies of you that are shown on a screen. So all of these effects I'm becoming interested in.
What are you using to create these?
They're apps. Like you can just apps on your phone, like a time lapse. Like your phone has a time lapse. You can record yourself in a time lapse. You can have a stop motion. You
Yes.
can all these effects you can get through apps.
So, but you're not doing. So you're just doing it on your phone at this point.
So I'm recording myself.
Yeah.
With the effect.
Okay.
And I'm exploring what are movements that I haven't seen. With it to me, the way I describe it, it's like dancing in another dimension.
So like, do you just set up the phone and go for it, or do you set up the camera? We'll just call it the camera. You set up the camera and go for it, or do you think like, okay, here's the camera. I want to make my arm stretch across the just as a silly example,
Right.
or are you just going for it and seeing what happens?
So each app has a specific effect. Right?
Yes.
So what I'm doing is I'm sessioning with these effects, and I'm discovering,
Okay. So got
if
it.
I go this fast, then the arm bends this way. If I go this fast, then the bending maybe is slight. So I'm getting feedback from watching myself. I'm like how when you dance in front of a mirror and you get feedback, but instead that mirror is showing you something outside of this what's possible.
But you don't watch it until after you do it, right? Or do you have a monitor?
No, on the app itself, you're able to see yourself.
Okay.
So I can see this thing is called, I think, a slit scan, where everything that passes a certain line will then bend. It'll
Right.
keep going. So I'm watching myself, and I'm going like this, and I'm like, well, what if I like open my mouth, and I'm like, oh, interesting. I'm just exploring through what I'm seeing, and then I'll write it down. I'll make notes. Yeah.
You got any questions for me?
We've known each other for some time.
Yeah.
And now this is our first time doing an interview. Is there something that you maybe didn't know, or something that was like, like I didn't know that about James, or that stands out about James, or is there something that you felt was
You mean when I met you?
from before to now, like having this interview, is there something that you feel you kind of added now about James, who James is?
The technology is definitely an add-on. I think, yeah, it's this fact that you really are what you appear to be. Not that you were lying. I don't mean in that way. I mean that, or that you were putting up a front. I don't mean it like that. What I mean is that I've always been kind of curious about your style because it is so personal. And it's really that. Like, there was no crew. There was no single mentor. There was no, I started in popping and then evolved into this. You're just like purely into the movement. Do you? So yeah, I think that's the thing that I think I would add on, because it's pretty interesting. So you don't feel, it's interesting. All this you haven't mentioned anything about the physical feeling. Like, is that you seem to be really interested in how it looks, whether you're doing it or whether somebody else is doing it. Like, is there a physically satisfying
Yes,
aspect to this as well?
for sure.
Okay.
Definitely younger. So before dancing, I was into the whole like screamo music, right? So I would blast that in my ears, and I would just like whatever I was upset about or pain, just like blasting it. I remember I would sit. I'll be in the bathroom where I live with my family. I would just be in the dark, and I would just be blasting my music and just like feeling whatever I was going through. And I think that transferred into dance, but because when I was also much younger, I would throw my body a lot. I would go into splits, drop low, just throwing my body when I was dancing, like very power moves in a sense.
Okay.
And I think it was like that releasing of whatever was going on inside of me. So dance, yes, it was this release of whatever pent up, boom, put it out. Just let it all go. And we would be dancing for hours, and I'm like just drenched. And it was, so it was a release, I would say.
Yeah.
In the beginning, for sure, much more. Mm-hmm.
Randy called it, because she's a B girl, Randy, she said it, she said it was like a full contact sport with the floor.
Yeah.
Because she came up as a soccer player, like a really top level soccer player. And so I was asking her about the transition and what she's like, I always liked, competition, and I like the physical aspect of sports, and this was like full contact with the floor.
Yes.
Do you think, do you see your dance as like a healing mechanism for yourself or for others? I don't.
I could see it as both.
Yeah,
I think people, when they see a dancer, they cry. Some people cry if I've seen a performance.
I have, it depends on the performance.
Right. So some people feel. I think for me, from what I hear, like when people talk about me or when they see my dance, I think I spark possibility for people. Like it gives them like, oh, I can do that. I can do what is not the norm.
Yeah.
I give people maybe faith, maybe a little to do that, like kind of push that boundary.
Yeah, because so many people like. That's an interesting aspect of creativity, is that, especially in our money-driven society where everything has become a specialty, right? Right, like from a young age now, it's like, oh, you must focus and get into college and have a career path by the time you're like 6, right? I mean, but it's gotten pretty intense, right? It's way more intense than it was when I was a kid, and probably more intense than it was when you were a kid. And this has been going on for a long time, right? But the specialization of everything makes people think like, I can't do it, right? Because I'm not a specialist. And I think the beauty of your approach is that you're just going to go for it. But just so many, I hear this all the time, Jay, like, oh, I'm not creative, right? Or they think someone else is creative and they're not, or like it was just this magic thing, as opposed to something that is kind of about faith. Not religious faith, just like faith in that try and you will get better, right? Or you try and something will happen.
Creativity, this topic of it, it's always there. It's always there. It depends if you can see it with your eyes. And when I say your eyes, it's your thoughts. How do you navigate? How do you see the world normally? Like, it's always there.
How would you define it?
This. I know we're talking about creativity, but
how would you define creativity? That's before we get too deep into it. Like,
how would I define creativity?
Well, if we're going to talk about creativity, we should have some baseline. I mean, it could be vague, but
so. It's so hard because I know there's a creativity, the definition of it and the way people express it has changed over thousands of years. People at there were, what do they say? The muses, like the Greeks, they believed that they were getting inspiration from a muse. Some people felt that it was divine. God was entering them. Some people are saying it's not God, it's not the muse, it is me. I am physically.
And people still think all of these things, right?
Right. There's all these different things of what is creativity.
How about this? I really want to hear what you have to say about this, but I did want to stop because I don't like to have conversations without definitions. It's like, wait, we don't even not talking about the same thing.
Right.
I think what I see people struggle with that I find that I feel there's a way around, and I feel like people handicap themselves unnecessarily, is what seems to separate what is thought of creative people and non-creative people in our society is the ability to deal with the blank page, right? Whether you're the blank or the blank movement, but you know what I mean? Like, here's a dance floor, do something. Here's a paper, write something. Right. Here's a camera, go photograph something. And this intimidates the hell out of people I think now more than ever, because everything's so structured now, right? And so if you only know how to follow directions, then you feel like when you're presented with the blank page, that it's just terrifying, or that you don't have the expertise, when it's like you don't need expertise.
You don't. No.
Right? So anyway.
No, you don't. You just need you. You need to do you. No one can tell you. No one can. There are no rules to this. I think you have to throw away the rules, throw away the structure, throw away anything that you think you know about this topic. You throw it all away and try to look at it with brand new eyes. Just like how a child will go up to a piece of paper and pretend that it's a character now. There are no rules to what that is. We have named it.
Do you have any idea where this comes from?
This
for you personally.
For this source of what allows me to kind of play with that
and to
thing.
be free in your play, and
because,
to not have yes.
Because it's interesting. My school and dance, I would keep them separate a lot in my life. Mm-hmm. My dance world and the school academics was always separate.
Okay.
Later on, I would start to share with people that, I do, mental health. But I would keep those worlds separate. I think one of those reasons was because for me, the academics, the school, the whole system of how you're supposed to do and analyze and like be a certain way, like that was that part of James, but there was a part of me that wanted to rebel and just wanted to just do what I want to do. I don't want to be told. I don't want to have to follow a structure. I want to just express. And that is where the dance came in. And that is where I said, okay, with dance, I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to express however I want to express it. So I'm not sure if that answered, but it's a, I don't know, maybe like a, I don't want to say an act of rebellion, but it was just this, it gave me the ability to just do me.
I like the rebellion aspect. Because it is inherently, especially right now, an act of rebellion to do that. I was kind of wondering, like, because so many people get this just beat out of them. I'm not necessarily beaten, some beaten, but I just mean like, and you probably see it. You work with kids in school, and you see some kid. Summer goes by, and they turn 12, and all of a sudden, and often it's what's going on at home. It sounds like your parents were not inhibiting in this way.
No, they weren't.
You're like, oh, here's your nick. They'll help you with a nickname or put you in dance
they were supportive,
class.
And I think society doesn't support that for the main part. For the main part, it's so interesting. You go to preschool and everyone is singing and dancing and playing outside and painting and drawing. You go to first grade, there's some dancing and there's some painting. You go to second grade, now it's time to sit in your seat and it's time to write your name. And then by the time you're in middle school, high school, you can decide if you want to have a sport. You can decide if you want to get into an art, but it's not needed. But it's so interesting how humans at a very early age, to get them to all participate and engage, you need the arts. You need to, all right, everyone, ready? Da, 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 da. Everyone sits down. All right, everyone, guess what? We are going to learn the alphabet. A is for apple. Everyone, we love that playfulness. And yes, it's sad because
it's really sad.
It's looked at as we need to get them we need to educate them, and this is a tool we use, but once they're older, we don't need those. We don't need it anymore, and let's just make it very mechanical machinery. So that's one thing that stops the creativity is the system itself. Of course, if you have family and friends that are like, what are you doing? That's going to bring it down.
Right.
Thankfully, I had a family that was supportive.
Yeah.
So they supported it. And also, maybe the rebellion act is a correct way to say it. It was me saying, no, I'm not going to, I want to do something. And I know that there's something special about it because look how people are responding. There's something special there.
Yeah.
So why not? Let's keep pushing it.
Yeah. I do, you've been so generous with your time. I do want to ask you about your podcast. You are the first podcaster I've had on my podcast, which is kind of intimidating.
And analyze everything. Compare. Better. Who's the better?
But what your podcast is called?
I just call it the Creative Movers podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are you,
Yeah.
so you're interviewing movers?
Yes, movers, but mainly street dancers. So poppers, flexers, tutters, street
what's
dance
your-
styles.
Do you have like an end game, or what's the basic philosophy behind it?
My idea is I want to hear stories of dancers from all over the world, street dancers that we have no idea about. I want to hear their story. And then there was a point where I was like, I want to hear about the OGs from the West Coast. I want to know about the animators because of the whole Unimade and Animation Week. So I started just diving into how far can I go and find out about dancers in the 70s. I have I don't want to say favorite, but I have a special place in my heart to hear the stories of OGs that have never had the chance to talk. People that are like 60s and older. Because in my opinion, the younger generation, we have computers. Everyone has phones. Everyone's recording themselves. If you have a phone, you can record yourself. You can post it online. But people from the 70s and 60s, we may lose their stories. We may never hear from them again if nobody gets in contact. So I really have a special place to find those people that have not spoken, the people that the current generation may have no idea about.
So
the OGs.
who have you talked to so far in that?
Yeah. In that area. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was it was one of my favorite interviews just because it went like 3 hours, and it was from the Bay Area, from Oakland. His name was Jerry the Worm Rente, and also we had who else was there? Kearney. These are all like Bay Area.
Kearney was there too?
Kearney, he's from the Black Resurgence.
I know Kearney.
Black
well, I don't know
Messenger-
him personally, but I know who Kearney is.
Kearney Mayers, I think his name is.
I don't
for
know
his last name.
I can't remember his last
but
name.
he's
Yes.
OG from the Bay.
Yeah, he and Tony Basil are buddies. They always show up
he
together.
did a judge showcase, I think.
I have photos of that. That was awesome. But before I knew who he was, so he would always show up. Maybe he still does. At that event, even where he did a showcase, he
Yes.
showed up late. He'd come with Tony, and he'd be like in a suit, and he had a wig on, and I thought he was Indian, from India.
Okay.
And I was like, who is this guy? And I'm walking around the room, everybody like, who is the guy in the wig? Man of mystery. And I saw him at he came to a Battle Games once.
Nice.
And then finally at that showcase, he disappeared, and then he came out in an all-white suit, and I think he had a bowler on and a cane and did the whole thing.
Yes.
I was like, oh, this is who this guy is, and this is why they're friends. But
Yes.
I just loved that he would come to these events incognito, and I was like, it's just bizarre, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you interviewed
him. Jerry the Worm, who was
Okay.
before him. Jerry the Worm is before Kearney in generations.
Wow.
So this was these are people that were dancing in the late 60s. And it's very rare to hear people like, oh, you were in the late 60s
Yeah.
dancing and talking about animation and all this stuff. Boogaloo Dana, Boogaloo Bill. So I was doing interviews with these guys over there because of, do you know Playboy Sticks?
No.
He connected me. He's part of Playboys Inc.
Okay.
Strutting Group, and Playboy Sticks. He was the connection to me.
Okay.
Because he's from the Bay and he's connected to, and he's doing a documentary actually on the history of Boogaloo dance.
Oh.
Yeah, they're working on that. But it was just so, I just enjoyed those interviews, hearing their stories and how they talked about when they were young and the words they used for the dance and what they saw, because there's no footage, so it's only what they're saying, and it's so cool to hear. Real quick, there was a story of so Boogaloo Dana, he was dancing in the 70s. He talks about how he was looking outside his window and he saw these 3 boys wearing black, and that they're one boy has a ball. He looks like he has a ball. He's throwing something, but there's nothing there. The other boy goes like this, goes like this, boom, boom. The other one drops, picks himself up. He's watching this whole game happening in front of his place. And they're Boogaloo. Well, boogaloo dancers. They're animated. They're doing all this stuff. I was like, wow, that's crazy to see that. Like, I'm just tripping out. Yeah, it's like going to your grandparents and like hearing the stories, and you're just sitting there like, wow, that was.
I love that stuff.
Yes, that was like the
do.
vibe, and then so it was so cool hearing these stories, but it was also really cool to have them all in a group chat and let them start talking to each other, because they were like, oh, I haven't seen you in like years, and like, how you been? And some people felt that, you know, it's kind of getting off track and the conversations are going, but for me, I was like, let them have their time. If they want to go talk, if they want to talk about whatever they want to talk about, this is a special moment. Let them do it. Let them, because who knows when they're ever gonna talk again, or life happens.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I will link out to that for sure, and hopefully some more people can see that. And I'll keep an eye out for the next one. This has been great. Please feel free to say no. Do you want to do the drum dance exchange?
Yeah,
okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, John.
Coming on The Real Future.
Yes,
I really
sir.
appreciate it. And I'm going to move some things around, and we'll get to it.
Let's do it.
All right, cool.
Hey. Woo!
Oh, you're arrested.
Yeah.